Hello everybody, and welcome to this little behind the scenes video on the 8th anniversary collab that I was a part of. You might have seen my little short that gave a basic outline of what I did and how I did everything, but I wanted to make a longer video that wasn't time restricted, so I could go a little bit more in depth about some of the things that I did, because I'm really pleased with how I did it. So a few days ago I was DM'd by Film, great YouTuber by the way, inviting me to be a part of the collab, and he showed me this video which has a bunch of different parts that people can do. Each part has like a specific shot to do. I had like a choice of various shots I could do. I originally wanted to do shot number 26, which is this one here, but it got taken. It got taken right after I asked. So I had 9 or 7 to choose from after that. I chose shot number 9, which is right here. Like that. So I decided I would be able to do that. The deadline was in 4 days from then, so that would have been the 30th of July. So I had to get to work. I was actually on the way home from the zoo at the time I got this DM. I almost ignored it, so I'm glad that I didn't, because the parts seemed to go away quite quickly. But luckily I managed to secure myself a part on the way home from the zoo with 10% battery on my phone. So the first step was obviously going to be to construct a little set for myself. Now how was I going to do that? Well, I had an idea. It involved going through the original video here for the ultimate Stikbot battle, and finding shots where you could see quite clearly the jelly boxes and various faces. So here was a good shot for the front face and the side face here. I got various other shots. That one was potentially useful. That one would have been potentially useful for like the lemon or the grape one maybe. This was the only good shot I could get of the cherry, I think. I don't know why it does the green thing. That was the only good shot I could get of the cherry, unfortunately. Some of them were just really hard to get, like some of the sides were just so difficult to get a hold of. But I took various screenshots, like a good number. They're all here on the bottom there, so I got a variety of different shots, you know. Some of the sides here, like I wanted to get the top part here. I got some of these sides, like on this side I got the cherry, the wigglers part on this, the right hand side of the box. Cherry, like I said. The grape one there is good. That one was for the back part of it. I needed to get multiple screenshots for some of these sides and stitch them together. But there's the wigglers again. Some of them were slightly different though. Some of them said jigglers instead. Lime. Cherry says jigglers, sorry. I don't know why this isn't important. I'm just showing you the... That says jigglers, look. It says jigglers. So I had to pay attention to the small details for some of these things, because I was a tad bit too much of a perfectionist with some of this. But I then imported them all into Photoshop, and using various different images, perspective cropping them all to make them a flat square image, I managed to stitch them all together into one net for a box. Some of them involved a lot more editing than the others. This is the first one I did, which was the orange, because the orange front face was the easiest to get a hold of. Most of these faces are just the same, but color corrected, so I just would select the face, go to image, adjustments, hue saturation, and adjusted them like that. So I'd make the purple one like that, and I'd use the rectangular marquee tool to sort of deselect anything that I didn't want to change. So I go select inverse, image adjustments, hue saturation, and then I could make the orange become purple or yellow or green if I wanted to, which is what I did for most of these other faces. So I managed to get lime. With some of them, it took for me to just have to create a new text box, using the default sort of font, because it looked fairly default here. This is the original box, and then this is my recreation. And then to make it look better, to make it fit in well, I had to select the item, go to filter, and then shape blur, to make it look a bit less edited in. And for some of them I had to edit the J in, using the cloning stamp tool to erase the W and replace it with an image of a J. Again, using the shape blur tool to alter it slightly. And again, this is just the orange one. With some of them I was able to get away with it quite easily, just using the orange one again, because a lime looks quite similar to an orange. You wouldn't tell the difference, would you? Just from this small image. Would you consider that to look more like a lime? Yes, I think it could pass as a lime, is my point. And so with this one, it's the orange one again, but again I've erased the orange and replaced it with a lime. And I've used the polygonal lasso to select around the jelly like this. This is a very rough demonstration. Go to select inverse, hue saturation, and then I can do what I want with it. So this is what it was originally. It's an orange. You can tell it's an orange from the picture of an orange. I then made it green to make it a lime. So that's basically the process, and I repeated it for the various flavors. I did all except for one flavor. Now the one flavor I wasn't able to get was, if I can get a good shot of it, was the berry flavor. There's only one berry box. I didn't need the berry box for my shot, fortunately, because this is the only shot where you can actually see the berry flavor there. You can't. There's no other berry flavored boxes anywhere other than in that little shadowy bit. So there's no way I would have been able to do that. So fortunately, I only had to do orange, lime, lemon, grape, and cherry. I think with certain flavors, I think grape and cherry, I had to source new images instead of just color correcting, because a cherry does not look like an orange. A grape does not look like an orange. I would not have been able to pass a purple one of these, as a grape. So that's essentially what I had to do there. And with some of them, like I said, it was very difficult to get just one shot where I could get a full clean image. So what I had to do was get two images and put them together. So if I deselect one of them, this is the orange one, color corrected to red. Like, as you can see, it doesn't look very good. But unfortunately, the cherry one wasn't complete. I had a little Stikbot in the way, which was annoying. So I had to color correct the below layer, which actually worked really well. It's quite well done, in my opinion. I don't want to toot my own horn too much. There are some areas where it doesn't look super convincing. Like there's little bits here and there where it just doesn't quite match up, or but that's if you zoom in, and if you're looking at it on a big screen like here. The dimensions of this box are quite small. It's 7.5 centimeters tall, is what I guessed. So it didn't really matter that much. Then I imported them all into a Word document at 97% zoom, because that seemed to be the perfect sort of proportions for to measure against. I could just stick a ruler up against here, measure up to 7.5 centimeters height, and be done with it. So I managed to get all of these done. I needed 2 cherry flavored, I needed 2 lemons, I needed 2 lime, I needed 1 grape, and I needed 6 orange flavors. So I then had to print them all off into card paper, and I'll show you the rest of the footage without screen recording it. And here's the set. I've just finished animating now, but here I wanted to show you around. Have a little look. So this is Green's box fort right here. He's being held up by a Yoshimoto cube, I think is what it's called. It's not important. And he's sort of kneeling on that. Keeping this box here up is a piece of Lego sellotaped in place. Fortunately, I didn't have to move it at all because it stays still in the video. The rest of these boxes are all taped to the floor, nice and secure, I guess. These are all on card paper, except for this one, which is my prototype. I wanted to include it in the video because, well, it worked so well. It was the best. It was a great prototype. And here is Purple's fort. Now, if you're wondering where Purple is, he's in there. 4 shots from the end, he fell in there. 4 shots away, and I can't get my chunky old fingers in there because something would be disrupted. So I just had to leave him in there and copy and paste the last 4 frames. Honestly, these are all stuck down with tape. For some reason, the line box is slightly smaller than the others. Might be a printing mistake. I don't know. They've all been sellotaped on the inside so as not to show up in the video. These ones have been taped to the ones below it. This is my little red button that I made out of cardboard, which is blue tacked very lightly to the box because I hadn't thought about it whilst making the box. And I had to stick it down after gluing it together, which obviously these are not super sturdy, so I didn't want to poke through too hard and have to reprint it because we only actually had about 15 pieces of card paper, so I used up more or less all of it on this. This cherry one again is held up by one of these little hinged Lego bricks sellotapes down here. Now this one did have to move, and fortunately it was just strong enough with the sellotape to actually be able to move it without causing too much of an issue. So, like so. Also on this cherry one is a flag. Now the original one is a burger flag, but this is also from a restaurant, so it's the same thing. I had to snip it down to an appropriate length and then just poke a hole in the back of the cherry package and stick it in there. These are some plastic forks that we very, very fortunately happened to have in the cutlery drawer when I had a look. These ones were also a bit of a tricky thing to keep stuck down. This one required a paperclip modified to hold it in place, which fortunately again didn't show up in the actual shot, which is good. This one just needed some blue tack. Very luckily it managed to hold off. The only thing that really sucked was Purple falling down there like that, which almost made me rage, but I came up with this because it didn't require any movement, these last 4 frames, so I just sort of copy and pasted the previous 2 that I got, and that's the set. I didn't bother with anything too fancy in the background department. I'm still not allowed back at my old animation desk because that's where my dad does his work and whatnot, so I'm in my bedroom right now with my Clone Wars wall borders on my chest of drawers here. I've got a couple of lamps. This is my sister's lamp held up by this drawer. I've got another lamp that was resting on the chair here, and that was my 2-point lighting that I learned. So yeah. And now before I go, I just want to talk about the animating itself. So for that process, what I did was I screen recorded the shot that I did, which is part number 9. I downloaded the video and cropped it to just my shot, and I imported it into Stop Motion Studio Pro. So this is at 20 frames per second and like that. And then I set up my camera shots, and basically what I did was I would onion skin this on top of my camera feed, and I would try and match up each shot as much as possible. So I ended up with 44 frames, as close as possible to the original. There wasn't a lot of post-production involved in this. Most of it you're seeing just, this is the final product more or less. I did want to sort of slightly edit the brightness and the contrast of the video, because what I didn't catch in the recording process was that this was actually rather bright. And what I did was I imported it into InShot and I sort of darkened it a little bit just to sort of reduce some of that brightness and make the colours a little bit more pop in, because I really wanted to show off my jelly boxes for what they were, which is awesome, by the way. Yes. And that was more or less it. I edited it up a little bit, reduced the brightness, and I sent it off to Film. So if you did enjoy this little behind the scenes video, I would appreciate a like. I more did this for me because I enjoy talking about the stuff that I did just as much as actually doing the stuff. So I really like to just go on a detailed ramble about the stuff that I did and how I did it and why I did it and what I did. But yeah, if you did enjoy, leave a like. You might see some more behind the scenes stuff later on if I can be bothered to do some of it. I'm working really hard on a Monsters episode right now, so you will probably be seeing that at some point in the summer holidays. This was just a fun little project that I didn't know I would be able to do, and I thank Cleve. Oh, hello. But this was just a fun little side project that I didn't know I would be able to do. I'm really grateful to Film for giving me this opportunity by DMing me, reaching out to me, and offering me a place in this collab. When recording this right now, the final product, the actual collab, hasn't been released yet, so I can't wait for then to see everyone else's work being put up next to mine. I will have the video linked in the description because my plan is to release this video after the release of the actual collab, which would make sense. But yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed, comment and whatnot. Maybe I'll see you in the near future. Take care.